Welcome back to Grit Gym, guys. Today we're going over how to get some fat loss without losing your life, because we all know that you dig into this thing and all of a sudden your social life gets down and everything else kind of falls apart when you try to just dig into this nutrition thing until your life revolves around food. And if you want to learn more about this stuff, go to gritgym.com/SS and we can sit down and have a free session where we figure out what's the best strategy for you. And I think you might find that very interesting. Most of the people that sit down with us come away with a lot of really good strategy that they can use immediately in their life. And I think, as we get into this, I think what you're going to see is the finishers just tries to complicate stuff too much. Like everybody knows enough to make better decisions, so why don't you? So we need to get a strategy around this thing so that you can make it a part of your life, not revolving around your life. Because nature did this really interesting thing. It made it made our survival mechanisms our greatest pleasures. You think fight or flight, sex, and food. And so you want to have a good relationship with food. The better that relationship can be, the more pleasure you get out of it, the better your life is going to be. So let's get clear on nutrition for fat loss without losing your life. And what we're really going to dig into today is the utility of 3 meals per day. Okay, the 3 meals per day. I've been getting a lot of questions since we did this video last week. And like I said, if you're interested in this stuff, go to gritgym.com/SS and sign up for your nutrition or for your strategy session so that we can sit down and really get clear with this stuff. Because, just statistics wise, almost every single category, the United States is over 40% obese, the highest being the 35 to 45 year olds, and I think they're up into the 48s now. But on average, the United States is 44% obese, and obesity is not where you just have a little bit of extra fat. Obesity is where you have so much fat that your body is actually dying because of it. It is a disease. So you want to tackle this obesity thing, and I realize it's kind of a hot topic, and people are trying to make this like a political thing, and it's really not. It's your health, it's your vitality, it's your joints, it's your ability to run around and do things with your kid. And you might feel good or try to convince yourself that you're feeling good when you're obese, but you are not. You're missing out on a lot of stuff, and it doesn't have to be as complicated as people are trying to make it sound. Okay, 87% of the United States have some kind of stenosis, they have spondyl, they have a disc, they have a bulge, they have a herniation, they have some kind of thing. 12% of the United States actually has a gym membership. Okay, 12%. I don't know if that's bad or good. 12% have a gym membership. Now, this is the interesting one though. 8% of the United States, let me rephrase. Less than 8% of the United States gets enough activity that they can actually benefit from that activity. All right? And this is what's crazy about this when we take this a step further. If you are to join a gym this year, the likelihood, the statistics around the number of people that will get injured this year during their membership is over 50%. Okay? That's crazy. That is nuts. That is psychotic. Okay? In the most controlled atmosphere possible, someone is getting injured. Now, I'm not saying there's not going to be some anomalies along the way. Like, it's not like we're perfect at Grit Gym. People can have cysts and different things that, ticking time bombs in their back. Like I just said, 87% of the United States has some kind of stenosis in their low back. And so if you assess them a little bit wrong, and there's anomalies, but 60% is an astronomical rate. Okay, or over 50% is an astronomical rate. Okay, and what that tells us then, if we're looking at that 8%, okay, 8% of the United States, less than 8% of the United States gets enough activity to actually benefit from that activity. If that is the case, then we're digging into this thing. That means that that 8% is doing a really terrible job when they in the gym, and the other 92% is not doing anything at all. Okay, those are the two ends of the spectrum. They're either royally screwing it up or they're not doing it at all. So whichever camp you're in, you've got to get to an expert and you got to vet that person. Don't believe everything that I say. Go look it up. Do not believe everything that I say. Okay, go look it up. And I'm not above error either. I might have given you the wrong statistics here in some of these, but if my memory serves me correct, the last time I looked this up, which was about a month ago, 44% of the United States was obese. So anyway, what are we going to do with food? Okay, because we got to get really, really clear on this thing. And so I'm going to go into the utility of 3 meals per day. And that might work really, really well for you. I would guess that over 90% of people, this is going to work really well for. So the likelihood that you watching this video and this is going to work for you, well, if you can toughen up enough to actually gain the discipline to do the things that I'm going to lay out in this video, it's probably going to work for you. If you think that you might have some extenuating circumstances, you have some extra questions, go to gritgym.com/SS and get signed up for a strategy session there so that we can sit down and we can get clear with your circumstance. But so you have 3 meals per day, and I'm going to try to diagram this out. So if we're looking at this thing and we're saying breakfast, lunch, dinner. All right. How do we want to break these out? Okay. How do we want to break out breakfast, lunch, dinner? Well, in the morning around 7 a.m. I didn't turn it. So you guys are going to have to watch backwards here. I always forget to do that. So around 7 a.m. is when your cortisol levels are highest. Okay. All right, that's where they're highest. And if cortisol is really high, that's a stress hormone. You want cortisol in your body. If you don't have cortisol in your body, you're going to die. That's what JFK had. It's Addison's disease. You don't want that. But we do want a little bit of cortisol. But the thing is, when your cortisol levels are high, your body is going to be really good at shoving fat away. It's storing fat. So we don't really want this. So what happens in the morning that's really good to do? All right, well, getting breakfast first thing in the morning is either something we want to omit, or if we're flexing that discipline muscle and we want to get a win first thing in the morning, okay, which is what you need. You need wins, okay? You need wins in your day, okay? If you want to live a big, strong, powerful, joyful, lovable life, you need wins. You need as many wins as you can possibly add up. So get breakfast first thing in the morning. Besides, you want you're like on some level, I feel a little sorry for people who don't enjoy breakfast food. It's like, oh, that's a bummer. Like that's a real bummer, because I thought like breakfast time with Rach is like sacred. I mean, it is called in my phone when the alarm pops up. It's like, hey, it's time to go eat breakfast. It says sacred time. Okay, so to me, there's a huge win. Okay, so cortisol level is highest, so we want carbohydrates to be low, we want protein to be high, and we want fat to be moderately high also first thing in the morning. Okay, so that just gives you a decent idea what you should be eating for breakfast. Probably 1 piece of bacon and 2 eggs. You know, most people are going to benefit from that. Now, is breakfast the most important meal of the day? No, it is not. But you can benefit from this. Get your discipline muscle up, get a win first thing of the day. All right, then we're looking at lunch, okay? Lunch, what should lunch be? Lunch is a very moderate meal. Lunch is going to be dependent on you. Lunch is really going to be dependent on, if you're an endomorph, an ectomorph, a mesomorph, it's kind of going to depend. How many carbohydrates do you eat? So this is kind of should be your moderate meal, okay? Like you should think in terms of moderation during this meal. It should also be the smallest meal, okay? Lunch should be the smallest meal of the day. You need just enough to sustain you to push, okay? You want fats, carbohydrates, proteins going into your body so you're feeding your mind, so you're pushing out into your day, so you're really being productive, because the more you get done, the better you feel. I don't know about you, but if I don't produce something in a day, I don't feel very good, okay? When you produce more, you feel better, okay? So eat lunch to push out into your day to do just a little bit better than you would have done without lunch, okay? But leave it at that. It doesn't have to be a big lunch. What you don't want to do is bog yourself down. Don't bog yourself down with lunch. Don't eat such a huge lunch where you sit back and like, oh my God, I'm loaded. Don't do that, okay? This should be the smallest meal. Lunch should be the smallest meal of the day. Tiny, small. Eat a smoothie and half a sandwich maybe. I don't know, but something small, okay? All right, now we're gonna go to dinner, okay? Cortisol levels are lowest around 7 p.m., okay? They're gonna be low, so we're gonna accept carbohydrates pretty well. You're also going to be able to eat a larger meal. Okay, this should be your largest meal of the day. Okay, lunch should be the smallest, then breakfast, then dinner supper should be your largest meal of the day. All right, and you can kind of eat not whatever you want. Be like sensible, but this is the meal where you can kind of like 0 carbohydrates for breakfast. Absolutely 0. Do not eat carbohydrates for breakfast, but at dinner, you know, it can be your largest meal. You can afford to eat just a little bit more. I know if you're going to have the smaller meals here, then you can make up some of your calories there and not feel really bad about it because you already prepared for such a thing. Okay, so cortisol levels are lowest later at night. This should probably be your biggest meal. This is the one that you should really dig into and try to have as much pleasure with, because at the end of your day, it's when you're trying to relax. It's when you need to start what do you call it? Winding down, so that you can get the recovery period. Okay, because everything that you did inside the gym, every stressor that you put on your body today, you're not losing fat because of that stressor. Okay, you don't lose fat while you're in the gym. You don't lose fat while you're on the track. You don't get faster while you're on the track. You don't get stronger when you're in the gym. You get stronger while you're eating and recovering, which is what we're trying to do here. Okay? At night, you want to calm it down. Okay? And at night, you probably want to eat a little bit bigger meal. What do you feel like after a bigger meal? You feel like going to sleep. Okay? That's we're not trying to induce sleep by eating a bigger meal. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying use this as logically. So, biggest meal right here. All right. So, why not do the thing where you eat every 2 to 4 hours? Oh, by the way, I didn't mention this. There is no snacking here. There is no snacking allowed here. Okay? There's no snacking between breakfast and lunch. There is nothing, no calories. You don't eat any calories between breakfast and lunch and dinner, or lunch and breakfast. No calories. Okay? And the utility around this is you're going to eat for about 30 minutes per meal. Okay? 3 meals per day. That equals 90 minutes of eating. Very hard to overeat in 90 minutes. Okay? That's some of the utility around it. All right, so why not? Why am I saying to leave alone the eat every 2 to 4 hours thing? Why am I sacrificing the eating every 2 to 4 hours for eating 2 to 4 times a day? Okay? Well, eating every 2 to 4 hours really isn't good for your insulin sensitivity. You want a healthy level of insulin sensitivity, and that improves with 3 meals per day. It gets hurt when you're eating every 2 to 4 hours because your body doesn't really know what to do with that. It's very, very easy to overeat when you're eating every 2 to 4 hours. Eating every 2 to 4 hours is for bodybuilders and athletes that want to grow. Okay, if you're trying for fat loss, you do not need to eat every 2 to 4 hours. The metabolism thing is true, but it's not logical. Like the metabolism, when you eat, it expands to the amount of food that you ate. If you ate this much food, your metabolism is going to increase that much. You eat this much, it's going to increase this much. If you eat this much, it's going to increase this much. So you don't need to stoke the metabolism. It's not an organ. Free. It'll last 20 to 30 minutes, and I really enjoy doing it. It lets us connect with different people and get very interesting questions, which this video is being made out of. But you have to know how to read research, and so you have to reach out to people that know how to read research. But eating every 2 to 4 hours is for weight gain. It does no favors for your health. It does no favor for your teeth. That's what I meant to say. No favors for your teeth. It harms your insulin sensitivity. It destroys. It destroys your work productivity. That's what I was trying to say. Because you're constantly going to eating. You're getting in the groove. So it's not necessarily just this, oh, well, you're going to lose a lot of weight if you eat every 2 to 4 hours. And what I can tell you is eating 3 meals per day is very easy to maintain a 6-pack. It's pretty easy to maintain an 8-pack if you do it right. Okay? It's pretty hard to get down. You got to do some extra stuff to get down to where your like veins are popping out of your stomach. But for everything else involved, it's very easy to maintain a low body fat content on 3 meals per day. No snacks. You get 3 meals per day. Okay? So nutrition for fat loss without losing your life. Eat 3 meals per day. Every time that you vote with $1 for anything to Grit Gym, you are helping us push out and to help more people, right? So nutrition for fat loss without losing your mind and the utility of 3 meals per day, that's how you do it. You don't eat in between the meals. You eat breakfast, you eat lunch, and you eat dinner. You keep your carbohydrates extremely low for breakfast.